Today I thought I'd take some time to replace the ground wire on this Harbor Freight titanium brand Flux 125 welder. It's been a good welder for me. I don't need anything real big and heavy in my shop for the little jobs that I do. I'm going to replace this little bitty thin ground wire with this 10-foot 4-gauge stuff. It's quite a bit thicker there. On these welders you have 5 screws to take out to access the clamp for this ground wire. You've got 4 on the outside here. I've already removed 2 of them, and then you've got 1 at the bottom here. Now you have to remove this bottom piece here because it's notched on the side there, and this side plate of metal here on this body goes inside that notch there and helps hold it on. So I've got all 5 of my screws out. I'm going to open the top here, pull out on the bottom, and then up at the top. I'm going to get this closer to the camera so I can show you exactly where the clamp is. You've got this thin piece of material that you just pull up like that, pull out of the body, and your clamp, ground wire, is right there. Okay, now that little nut inside there is going to require a 10mm socket or wrench, whatever you think you can use to get inside there and pull it out with. Regardless, it's a 10mm, and that's what I'm going to use here. And there it is. You've got another wire inside there hanging on to that thing too, so I'm going to use my magnet here to reach inside there and pull out the washer. Right there it is. And this other wire, you got a red one here. And then finally the ground wire. This is going to be a little more difficult to see, but before we can pull this ground wire out, we've got to loosen the screw that's holding it in there. Okay, it's kind of a tension relief screw, I guess, or it also keeps it from being pulled out or pushed back in. It's just a little Phillips head right here. And I'm just going to use this little flathead screwdriver to loosen it. There it is. Now it's loose enough to come on out. There we go. If you're upgrading the ends of your wire there, you might want to pull the wire through first, because obviously these are a lot bigger than the ones that come on the stock ground wire here, and that won't fit in through there. So kind of obvious. What you need to do is pull the wire through there first, pull it out enough so you've got enough room to crimp this on, and then you can continue on tightening it down. And that's actually, that 4-gauge wire right there is basically flush with the that collar that's inside there that it's going through, which I like that. So I'm pushing it through the front and pulling it out the back. And we're going to go ahead, put our ends on it. I don't necessarily have a crimp tool to crimp that down with, but I've got a pair of lineman pliers here that I'm sort of crimping down with it right there, and that'll be plenty good enough. And there's that. I'm going to have to pull it back through a little bit so we can get it on our nut up there. Okay, now I went ahead and opted to pull off the other side here so that I can stick my hand through, hold that nut up against there, and put my ground wire on there. Right now I think I've got a little too much cable inside there, so I'm going to pull some of that out. Alright, there it is. Now I'm going to put on this red wire. And finally my washer and my nut. Okay, I'm going to reach in there with my 10mm socket from this side, and the other side reach in there with this Phillips screwdriver. I'm going to go ahead and tighten down that nut. I am turning the screwdriver, turning the other side. I know you can't see that, but that's what I was doing. There it is, that's nice and snug. Okay, now all that's left is to tighten back down this little black screw down here. I know this wire's in the way, but there it is. Just go ahead and use your hand until you feel it get tight enough, and then move to a screwdriver of some kind. So let's go ahead and crimp this on to the end of our clamp here. This is a 300 amp rated clamp. A lot bigger and a lot more clamping force than this older Harbor Freight one right here. So because I'm using my own crimps here, I'm going to go ahead and pull this one off. Just a matter of getting that loose there on the top. Here's the other end of our ground wire. I've made sure to twist those, that copper wire up there. Okay, put that on just like that. I'm going to take my DIY crimpers here. I think that'll be plenty good and tight right there. Right now, to finish that off, I'm going to put a little bit of this electrical tape on there. Okay, we'll run this up through the back here, on just like that. There we go, that's plenty tight there. I'm going to button up the sides here. I'll start with this other side first. Now this bottom piece here. Pull this flap back down, which I've got up inside here. Put it down inside the body like that. Retorque this other side here too real quick. There we go. We went from this guy right here to this guy right here.